It is dawn. In this land, the sun rises early in summer, but don't expect the air to warm up by the afternoon. The climate here is oceanic. Although the winters are not long and freezing, it is chilly almost all year long. The gloomy weather is complemented by the craggy landscapes with ridges like blades and the endlessly long fjords with their tall, steep rock walls. Not ideal conditions to sustain life. Yet this is home to nearly 5 million people. This is Norway. Walking through the capital, Oslo, one begins to wonder what lies behind the Norwegian miracle. During its history, Norway has long been under occupation. The country has only been independent for about a century. Within a short period of time, this land of fishing villages became one of the richest and most advanced countries in the world. As well as natural resources, cooperation with the other Scandinavian countries was a must. Norway provided hydroelectric power. Iron ore came from Sweden and timber from Finland, while Denmark's contribution was arable land. The Scandinavian countries owe their wealth and prosperity to each making the most of its own natural resources. Each of these countries almost exclusively processes the resources which occur domestically in abundance. In Norway, for example, industries such as fishing and shipbuilding make use of the country's own resources. The vast majority of the population live within 15 kilometers of the sea, since their living depends on it. But all other natural resources have been dwarfed by one thing: the economy was boosted most by the crude oil under the North Sea. Norwegians are a resourceful people. They have no intention of polluting their own country with their huge oil reserves. The fast-flowing rivers even provide electricity enough to export. Norway has the highest hydroelectricity consumption ratio in the world and the highest energy production per capita. However, the largest power stations are built not on the coast, but deep in the Scandinavian Alps, which are almost uninhabited. Fjords extend deep into the landmass. These U-shaped valleys were formed by glaciers in the Ice Age. When the water level rose due to the melting ice, the sea flooded the valleys, making the coastline so jagged that today it is estimated to be over 100,000 kilometers long. This is 2.5 times the length of the equator. If it could be divided equally among Norwegian families, each would have their own 80 meters of seaside in the back garden. Travel by ferry is a common form of transport in Norway because it is often impossible or very expensive to build roads. Some fjords extend several hundred kilometers inland and are therefore excellent waterways. But even these must end somewhere. To carry on, we have to climb up the steep wall of the fjord to reach the top of the surrounding rocks, called fjells. Fjells are plateaus raised flat by the ice. This is all that is left of the Fold Mountains. This section of the disrupted Caledonian mountain range is the oldest chain of block mountains in Europe. The landscape is dominated by barren granite plateaus. In a few places, where patches of fertile soil have accumulated among the rocks, herds of sheep can be seen grazing. For obvious reasons, this land is scarcely populated. But of course, Norwegians don't despair, since even the remotest corners of their country are ideal for sports and hiking. This is the famous Skjeragbolten rock, which became wedged in a crack of the Skjeragbolten mountain during the Ice Age. It now attracts numerous adventure-seeking climbers. There is no sign of a safety railing, as this is not customary in Norway. Yet a reckless tourist who makes a false move will plunge 1,000 meters to a certain death. Happily enough, no fatal accidents have been recorded here so far. Not far from here is the Preikestolen, or the preacher's pulpit. The power of the ice creates surprising formations sometimes. Here, it has formed a square terrace, providing an extraordinary view of the landscape. Of course, there is no safety railing here either. According to Norwegians, those who are afraid of heights should not climb up here in the first place. It is an unforgettable experience to admire the view while dangling one's feet over the abyss. And this is just one of the innumerable sights to behold. The almost 1,000-year-old stave churches, the little fishing villages, and the picturesque Norwegian wilderness make the land of the one-time Vikings a truly unforgettable place.